You are listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast with Lenne from Lenne. So happy to be here, and thank you so much.
So anyway, we could just jump in if you want. I guess the best place we could start is for those not familiar with, is it Lenne? Is that how I'm pronouncing it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. For those not familiar with you guys, can you give us the 2-sentence elevator pitch?
It started as a song in Atlanta, and then one day Morgan was like, let's make this a thing. Nice. And we started doing stuff, and then we never just really thought of it as a band per se. So we never thought about a name, and then Imagine was like, well, you're going to need a name if we're going to sign you guys. So we're like, let's just call it Lenne.
There you go.
Plain and simple, And Steven came up with the idea of the spelling a little different. Because, you got Lenny Kravitz and his album Lenne. So, right. I mean, it's not a bad thing to come up in a Google search, but at the same time, distinguish ourselves a little bit at least. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, there really wasn't a whole lot behind. It just started out as recording sessions and then turned into a thing.
So I believe you're in New York. How in the world did you come across Morgan? Because he's from the Atlanta area, right? How did you guys cross paths?
Well, my band, The Infinite Staircase, was on tour with Black Label, Seven Dust, and Dope back in 2009. So that's when I first met him on the road. And gotcha. Then he was doing sessions in New Jersey, fairly close to me.
Sure.
And at the time, my girlfriend passed away tragically, and I was writing some crazy music, and he was there, and we hooked up. And then ever since, it's been, he's been a good friend. When my mom passed away, this is how this whole project actually started. He invited me to Atlanta, but that's how we met, on the road in 2009, and then recording in New Jersey in 2010. And then just staying friends, I mean, that's my claim to fame is I have a lot of good friends, people that, are just genuinely good people that I love having in my life. And music is just such an important thing to so many people and such an awesome way to be able to
connect.
Get out.
Yes.
Yeah, connect, get out. The connections. I mean, and better than me, I'm sure the music community is just so tight and actually fairly small. If you know a couple of people, you know everybody.
And I don't think you find that in any other music community. I don't think there's a pop music community or a country music community. And I could be wrong, but I don't think there's such a tight-knit community as those of us who bond across a riff or something heavy. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Actually, my boy Jim, one of his favorite words is riff.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of times it does start from a riff that it starts with that sometimes, and then you run with it. And we did that a lot. There were times where I was laid over in an airport, say, and Morgan and Corey are texting me, hey, check out this riff. And then so by the time I get to the studio, I already have something in my head, and then we could associate lyrics with it depending on what we want to, what we want to express in the song at that point. Once you already got the audio expression and the vocal expression, to me, has always been important to me, lyrics. And stuff. Some people don't care about lyrics; they just like the guitar parts, and some people are the opposite. I like a mix of both. Good music and good lyrics.
Right.
Obvious, right? I mean, come on. Right.
So I've got a list of stuff, but I'm going to jump around because as you're touching on it, you mentioned lyrics. Is there something you want your fans or your listeners to walk away from after listening to a Lenne record?
Well, just it's one of those things where songs can be whatever they're about to you, to the listener,
Right.
But I do want people to just take away from it's expressive stuff that's people ask, what do you write these songs about? And I write about whatever's happening in my life at the time. So, when my girl passed away tragically at 27, where mom got ALS and then died a couple years later. And then, so the music, if something's happening in your life, that's where the music comes in. So I hope, even a single person gets anything out of my music that I get out of other people's music.
Right.
That's been my whole thing, my whole life. Yeah.
So do you find it super cathartic to be writing those lyrics and getting that shit out?
Oh, it's crazy. We've cried many a times.
Yeah.
Like the first time Morgan actually sat me down in a room, closed the door, and he was like, he just looked at me like, we're doing this now. And he stared at me, and I was like, okay. And he just stared at me. And I'm like, okay. And then his tears start. He's like, yep, this is what we need. I'm like, okay. And then he breaks out the pad and the pen, and he goes, go back to your hotel room and write this song, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, you know?
Right.
So it's a lot, but I don't know what I would do without it.
Right.
You know, to not have that channel, you know, and everybody goes through stuff. I mean, cold life, you know.
Oh yeah.
But certain situations that I did experience were just kind of brutal, and my own personal,
right.
You know, I mean, it doesn't matter how old you get. When your mom passes away, that's your mama.
Yes,
you know,
correct.
You could be whether young or old, whatever. It's still your mama, and to see someone like that suffer, like she had Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yeah.
So there was a lot going on in my head at the time, and Morgan was such a good friend to me to invite me out to his house in Atlanta and introduce me to Corey Lowery, who had a big part in how we started the sound. We actually started this fairly electronic. Morgan was playing electronic kit. We were doing synthesizers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were going a complete different route at first, believe it or not. Then one day it was like Morgan, it clicked what Morgan was like, I need to play real drums on this, and we need to make this a bigger sound. And then we started adding heavier guitars and drop tunings and stuff, because it was getting closer to the emotions that we were trying to express at the time. And at that time, Corey Lowery's father had recently passed away. And Corey is just an amazing musician.
Is he, so I don't know for sure, but is he related to Clint? Are they brothers?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Clint. I got to work with Clint. Like we were talking about earlier, I have met Clint in person. I never worked with Clint in person, but we've worked through studio sessions, you know. Mm-hmm. God bless the internet, or God damn the internet, depending on how you look at it, right? So I do know the boys from Seven Dust fairly well, and then Corey's Clint's brother, and he's been in all sorts of projects. Right now he's in Seether, who's killing the charts right now. I mean, Seether is just destroying the charts. It's amazing. So to be connected with him and to know him, I was actually sitting next to him when he got the call that he got the gig with Seether.
Oh, really?
It was so funny because we were doing this session, and with his southern twang, he's like, I think I need to buy a new guitar.
Nice.
He's such an awesome guy, and the stories that he could tell you, you know. And he was funny with me too, because I'm like, I show up to the studio with a bottle of bourbon and a bag of weed half the time, and he's like,
Not while you're recording?
I'm like, no, you hydrate.
Yeah.
You hydrate and you get sleep, and then you come in tomorrow and you sing. And I'm like, but I got.
Yep. Was it hard for you to adapt to doing that?
Yeah, it's difficult for me. Unfortunately, I got into the habit over the years of, taking a shot or two to get the edge off, or hitting a bowl or whatever. It's not the best habit to get into.
Right.
But I appreciate when someone like Corey is like, hey, man, I played arena shows I don't remember. I want you to remember this session, okay?
Right.
So I do appreciate that. I do need to be kept in check sometimes.
Oh, sure. I think probably everybody does. But do you find that it's difficult to expose those raw nerves when you're singing, whether it be in the studio or if you've taken this in front of a crowd yet? I'm not sure. But is it difficult to expose that stuff?
We haven't taken this live yet, but I've done plenty of stuff over the years. And the live shows, it's difficult until I get on stage. And then then I close my eyes and I want people to feel, what the songs are from, so,
right.
And I feel like that's what you're paying for a ticket anyway. You want the emotion,
sure.
The show,
So how does
it's not a fake show, it's real.
Oh yeah. So how does it make you feel? And I'm sure there are stories, and maybe you could share one of how a fan has grabbed you after a show or sent you an email and said, hey, I connected with, I don't know, say Letting You Down or whatever. I've connected with this and it changed my life, or it stopped me from doing whatever. You have any of those?
So many. I mean, I have so many friends now that are real friends, not just Facebook friends or fans. Real friends that I made through the music. Like an easy one that I remember, just one of my first shows in Iowa, where we were opening for Black Label Society. It was the biggest crowd I ever played for, sold out arena type of show. And I was like, nervous as hell. And then I thought we did a terrible job. I popped a string first song. My brother's amp blew out second song. It was just like, oh my God. But then we go to our booth with our merchandise and had all these young people that were like, you guys were awesome. And there's this one dude named Kyle that I met that day that's 10 or 11 years later, never met in person after, since then.
Right.
That's still friends and supports everything I do and still just like, dude, you were the coolest opening act I ever saw. And we're friends to this day. So it's one of those things. It's like, wow, it amazes me. Because I also remember, back in the day, and hell, I hate to admit this, my first live show was Poison.
So don't hate to admit it. And I'm going to just go ahead and let you know, I am a hair metal fanatic. I grew up on it. I spent a lot of time in LA in the 80s. I'm dating myself, but that's I guess every generation's got their thing. That's my thing. I'm a hair metal. Like I love the Faster Pussycats and Poison. So continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's
and don't judge me. Don't judge me, please.
I don't at all. It's really funny actually, because that was me too. The first, when I wanted to be a rock star is because the hair metal bands.
Right.
I hate Bret Michaels was cool to me. I was like, holy, when I was, a kid, it was like, whoa,
larger than
cool.
life.
I want to be this guy riding motorcycles and getting women and whatever, on skinny bopping. I don't know.
Right.
It's crazy. But then one day I had a friend of mine, to this day, I remember his name, Mike Torrey. He handed me a cassette tape, dating myself now,
right?
A mixed cassette tape, and said, listen to this when you get home. And the first song was Iron Man from Black Sabbath, right? First time I ever heard that.
Life-changing.
Evil. Oh, exactly. Perfectly. Yes. Life-changing. I couldn't believe, you could hear Ozzy's lips open.
Yep.
And you could hear the kick, the squeak of the kick. And then Iommi's evil guitar. I was used to talk dirty to me.
Right.
Now the same chords are being used, but in a different version.
Tuning, right. Everything, right? Yeah.
And suddenly it was, I am Iron Man. And my eyes I was like 12 years old or something.
Right.
And I was just like, oh God, this just changed my life, So hearing Black Sabbath for the first time was definitely life-changing. And then there was The Doors was on it, which I'm a huge fan of Jim Morrison too.
Right.
Some people like him, some people don't. I liked Jim, and his lyrics were cool, I thought too. And then his whole story was just wild, in my opinion. But yeah, when I heard Break On Through for the first time too, when I heard Crazy Train for the first time, all on the same tape. And it was like, God, I wonder, I probably have that tape somewhere too, but life changing.
Yeah. So for me, and you probably were not interviewing me, but for me, again, dating myself, I remember prior to the hair metal scene, being in high school, like ninth grade or something, a little record store across the street. I walked in one day and saw Diary of a Madman on vinyl. I was like, what the hell is that? I never heard of it before. I took it home, and those first couple notes fucking changed the course of my life for sure.
I hear you.
Within seconds of Over the Mountain.
Ozzy album.
Oh my God.
I love Blizzard. Blizzard is awesome.
Yes.
But Diary, I feel like, is probably my favorite record of all time.
That was probably my first exposure to something that wasn't in, my parents' record collection or something on the radio. That was the first time I popped it in and went, holy shit.
Right. Yeah.
There's a whole different world out there.
Oh, yeah. I remember the first time, so I was taking guitar lessons, and I brought Crazy Train to my guitar teacher, right? I don't know anything at this point, I'm an idiot. And I'm just like, hey, this guitar player sounds pretty good. And he looked at me like, pretty good?
Yeah.
It's Randy fucking Rhodes. Are you kidding me? It's Crazy Train. And I learned the riff to Crazy Train.
Right.
Just the riff at first, because I was just a starter, so I couldn't do that solo yet.
Sure.
But then I got obsessed with Randy Rhodes licks, where I would sit in my room and just try to learn all those solos because they were so cool. It wasn't like Van Halen, like Eddie, God bless, but he was almost untouchable. But Randy's stuff, as good as it was, Randy's stuff, you could still like, well, I might be able to do that if I take enough time. Some of Eddie's stuff is just like, I'm not even gonna.
Right, it's beyond.
Like, I'm just gonna toss this guitar away.
Right.
Because I don't even know what you're doing.
Right.
Oh my God. He was brilliant, and Wolfgang, he gets some shit these days for whatever, but he's a good dude too. I only know him through, like I said, everybody knows each other through each other, but he's a good dude. And, he's probably going through a ton. I mean, he's Eddie Van Halen's son. I mean,
and the press is not good to him at all.
No, that's tough. I'm sure though he expects it, and I've seen some comments from him where he seems smart, where he's lashed out at some people.
Oh yeah,
because it's like, come on, man. It's a crazy scenario.
Anyway. Oh yeah, for sure. Anyway, no, that you'll find that on this show, I have a list of shit to talk about, and half of the time I don't get to any of it because I end up just talking, and that's why we call it a casual conversation with whoever, because it just goes wherever, and I kind of like it. I'm never gonna ask it. I don't ask people where the name came from, what all the weird stuff that you get, all the normal stuff you get all the time. I want to talk other stuff. So, what's going on with Lenne now? Are you guys planning anything now that the world is opening?
Yeah, believe it or not, we got a couple of show offers right now, but since right now there's only one single out, Imagine's the label that we're under, and Steven and Morgan are running the campaign right now and are taking it kind of slow in a sense of feeling it out, because we were supposed to do this a year ago,
right?
But everything got shut down.
Sure.
I mean, we had hotels booked, we had meetings booked, and then everything literally just shit, and everybody knows, everybody remembers it. So we had a lot planned, and we were supposed to do touring and stuff like that. The original plan was we're going to do a single and then start touring real heavy with some other, pony on some other bands, type of thing. And then that changed, and then we have the one song out. Things are opening up. Some things have been offered, but we're still trying to figure out what's the best way to go forward with the Lenne project. What's the best way, because things are, we're just trying to figure it out.
Sure. How is
Morgan, that? I'm sorry.
Sorry. How is that going to work out with Morgan though? Because I know Seven Dust is already booked, and I've got tickets to see him here. Yeah. So.
Oh, we already have the consistent members are me and Jim.
Right.
So Morgan is our guy, and he wrote everything with us. It's not like he was just a hired gun.
But he'd be okay if you took somebody else out.
Yeah, we already have a couple of plenty of people lined up, so to speak. But it's also not out of the realm of possibility to see us with Morgan at some point in time.
Sure.
But Seven Dust is his obviously priority, of course. And he does have, his own rip. But I know Morgan really well now, and I would love to have him play with us on this project. I played with him in other ways and everything, and I don't know if you ever heard of Le Projet. I played with him in that side project I have with him in Candlebox. Kevin Martin from Candlebox. Candlebox is one of my. I love those guys. So right now we have at least 6 songs and 3 more videos lined up. So the live aspect of it, we're still not quite sure. But if nothing else, if people like Letting You Down, there's at least 6 more songs ready to be released today if we wanted to. But we're gonna probably do one a month.
That's what I was going to ask you. So the new model in the business now, for whatever reason, seems to be one song a month. Are you ever going to do a full physical product, or is it going to be just singles along the way? Well,
personally, I'm hoping that we do. The idea is eventually we'll probably release the EP as a full thing, but I would like to do a full album with Imagine. But I think the way we have it set up is we're kind of testing the waters a little, see how the songs do first. So far, it's been great though. I've gotten really good feedback. I've made a lot of friends over the years that just great, awesome people that are, there to support and everything. And really that's what you need in this industry. It's really difficult. So if you have enough friends to help, spread the word, like Sean has been helping so much, and Steven and Morgan and everything. So anytime I talk to dudes like you and people, it's even if one more person is like, oh, let me check this video out.
Right.
We went from 300 views to 3,000 views overnight. And I was like, oh man, that's so cool to see. As an artist, when you see people are actually checking it out
and getting it.
I went a couple of weeks without a single thumbs down. When I got the first thumbs down, that's all I could think about.
You got to put all those detractors away. I'm sure you know that, and just do your thing.
Who? And I wanted to know, who was this person that took the time out of his life,
right,
or her life, to give me a thumbs down. Why would you do that? That's all I do. But no, it comes to I know lots of guys that are very successful that are still sensitive as shit when it comes to bad, negative feedback with the internet. Like, people can tweet in real time, can Facebook everything. They can get you real close. So you have to have real thick skin. Yeah. Otherwise you get burned real easily. And I am fairly sensitive. So it does, when I see those.
I mean, in the end, and, I do a lot of other stuff besides the podcast. I've got a couple movies and I've done some stuff. So I kind of feel the same way, like when people, completely take the time out of their day to trash it or do whatever. But it's tough because you're putting yourself totally out there.
Yeah, you're exposing yourself. But that's also what we do.
No, it is what you do, and it's what makes it great. Right. In the end, and authentic and, organic, but it's also what makes you the most vulnerable, I think. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, totally.
So I get what you're saying. You're like, I don't want to look at that guy and his 3-page comment about how he hated my fucking movie or whatever, right? but I do, and then I'm like, well, what the fuck?
Right.
So yeah.
Meanwhile, you'll have 100 positive reviews.
Right.
But you're like, yeah, those are cool.
But that guy bothers me, right?
This guy knows bothered. I mean, to Kevin Martin, Candlebox, lead singer, right? Far Behind sold like 20-something million singles. And to this day, you can still hear it on the radio, right? Yeah. Far Behind. Everybody knows that song, right? Got him to sing on a song with the Infinite Staircase, my band, for when Hurricane Sandy hit. Had Zakk Wylde on guitar. So you have Zakk Wylde on guitar and Kevin Martin on vocals. And like one person said something negative about Kevin and said Zakk should have sung it instead. And I get a text message, dude, I'm so sorry. I fucked this whole song.
That's crazy, right?
And I was like, dude, what? One person, dude, one. Come on.
That's
so
crazy.
Even guys that sold 20 million records are sensitive too.
Yeah. So what's the plan? We're running up on time here shortly. So what's the plan going forward now? I know you're going to do singles. What do you say? 1 a month for 6 months?
Yeah. We have another single coming out. It's June now. So probably the end of this month, a song called Plastic should be out. That we'll have a video with that too. After that, we have a song called No Amends coming out with a video. So over the next 6 weeks, there should be at least 2 more songs and 2 more videos coming out. It'd be cool if people hit our Facebook page and start, just liking it. And our YouTube page, obviously too. Our Spotify numbers have been really cool. It's cool to see that. But it's amazing how the world is now. Like Spotify is a huge thing with music,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when Lars was hated because of the whole Napster
but he
thing,
was so right.
Oh, he was like warning everybody of what was about to happen, and look where we are now.
He got crucified for that shit, and he was so right. Yeah,
you remember that, man?
I do.
A lot of people probably don't remember Napster, right? It was Napster.
It was whatever. Napster,
yeah. But yeah, he got crucified for that stuff, and now here we are. But the industry and artists are trying to figure out ways to make it work for each other right now. It's hard though; it's very difficult, but there are ways, and you just gotta really just dig in. So that's what we're doing. We're digging in, and we're hoping for the best. But we're also not like we don't have aspirations of being like super rocks. Okay, yes, we do have aspirations of being super rock stars. Who doesn't?
Right.
What I'm saying is we do this because we love it and because it's all we know and it's all I do. I mean, I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I didn't have songs to play and write and record and all that. Performing has been, I miss playing out. So before the pandemic, I was playing out pretty regularly.
Right.
And then to have just a complete, now I don't mind being home though, because I have dogs that I love and the pool and my guitars and everything like that, so I'm fairly well off in that sense. So I'm blessed. Some people weren't so lucky to be, or bored with the lockdown or anything. I'm not bored easily. I have 30 guitars.
Right. So, enough to do.
Yeah. So I got to play twice this year. It was just so good. So I hope by the end of the year, or at least next year, we get to really get on a good tour. I was supposed to be on Shiprocked last year. I don't know if that's ever going to happen again. I don't know if I want to get on a cruise ship.
I think they're booking that already.
Are they? Yeah.
I think I saw something. I've never been on that one. I've done 70,000 tons of metal. The last 11 years. Yeah. I've covered it for the podcast and for different things for the last, I don't know. We missed this year, obviously, but hopefully, fingers are crossed that we get back out in January again.
All right, cool. Yeah.
There's nothing like it.
Hope so. Yeah. Nothing like it.
A boat full of of headbangers and a bunch of cool bands and
right. It's so cool.
And an open bar. So you're good. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. No idea what you mean about that.
Awesome, my friend. Thank you very much for taking the time. Be well.
Thank you for talking with me. And like I said, Shauna was like, you're going to love this dude. And she was right. You know, you're cool as hell, man. I love these interviews to me are just like talking to friends I didn't know I had, you know, so this is really fun for me. I generally love people.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, the only way to get by in life is with a little help from your friends.
Oh
right?
yeah, I agree. Sorry I have to keep it short, but we only schedule 2 days a week to record and I back them up. So then I'm just,
and I tend to talk.
I like to talk too, so I can keep going. I hope I covered what you want to cover because I was just blabbing.
I hope I said anything worth listening to. I don't even know.
Good, man. Be well, my friend. Good luck with the songs, and I'll talk to you soon.
You.
Take care.
I hope so. Take care.
Now. Bye.
Hello out there. Yes, hello out there, everyone. I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. Together we host None But the Brave, a podcast dedicated to the music and career of Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce and E Street Band are on tour right now for the first time in 6 years, and we're taking a detailed look at what's happening on stage in our bi-weekly episodes.
We've also been recently joined by some very exciting guests, including rock journalist Warren Zanes and Stephen Hayden, Backstreet's Magazine founder Charles Cross, and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
If you're a diehard Springsteen fan, this is the show for you.
So please subscribe to None But the Brave on your favorite podcasting platform, and we hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.